Hello everyone and welcome to The Art of Hustle. This is your host Ananya and today I have with me the co-founders of Hilo Design, Sahith and Mouna Gummadi. So before we get started and ask them all about their brand, Hilo Design, for those of you who are listening to us for the first time, is a brand that is into men's fashion and they're incorporating style and sophistication, and today I'm very excited to find out more about that. So, hi sir, hi ma'am.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Very good.
So, first of all, you have a really pretty store. Your store looks great.
Thank you.
That's
So-
what we want to hear.
So, for the audience that's listening to you for the first time, if you had to introduce yourself or tell them something about your brand, what would you say?
So, to introduce ourselves, so this is Sahith Gummadi. I've did my MBA from FMS Delhi before I did my engineering from Vasavi College of Engineering. I think that's where you guys are from. So proud to be on the show. I did my electronics there. Later, I did my MBA from FMS Delhi. I worked in Paytm as a product manager. I was part of their QR code payments and majorly into fintech. Also worked in a blockchain segment. And we wanted to start something from early on. I mean, I was part of the entrepreneurship cell Swayam in Vasavi. I was also part of entrepreneurship cell in FMS. So the bug has always been there. So and before we then we thought of starting this together, me and Mouna. That's and we'll get to more of it later, but that's the introduction.
And hi, I'm Mouna Gummadi. We are siblings, which he forgot to mention. So I did my graduation from Pearl Academy, Mumbai. Post that, I started working with Tollywood celebrities here in Hyderabad, and that's when we could really understand there's a gap between perfect design and styling, per se. And then I think once he started his, he moved out from Delhi. Joined some fintech company here in Hyderabad. We started together the research and did a lot of pre-production work, and post that we decided that let's start something on this line, and that's where we decided to start Hilo.
Okay. So, to start out with, we love exploring the personality of entrepreneurs. We love getting to know what kind of maybe brought up they've had, the environment that they come from, what made them take that big step when in that moment they say, you know what, I'm going to pursue this idea. So let's start right at the beginning, right from your childhood and schooling. So what was that like? What was your childhood like? What was the equation as siblings?
Yeah, I think most part of our childhood we were not together. But wherever we are, like for the years that we are together, we were always fighting. So early on, we are based out of a town called Huzurabad in Karimnagar district. One thing was that our father always gave a lot of preference to our education. I think he did not let go in any way in terms of what he can afford or not. At least in terms of education, there is no bar. So interestingly, he always, because we come from that town, he always wanted. I mean, there is no other option to put you in hostels in a better, schools and stuff. So I studied in Warangal in Millennium High School. Even Mouna is also been put into a hostel. Even my elder brother is also been put into a hostel.
I think
So everyone of us is in the hostel.
hostels. Like when he has board exams, I am free, so I'll be at home probably, or I had leisure time and all. So we were never really together for very long.
Right.
In teenagers like that. Before that, I think, like you said, it was always the remote fights. It was like everything.
Everything that was there.
And I was the naughtiest one,
Yeah.
and he used to face a lot of trouble because of me. So it's been fun.
So I mean, but before that, we obviously, I think till seventh class, we studied together.
Okay.
I mean, one of the interesting things I remember of is that there is not much gap between us, like 2 years in terms of this thing. And in terms of education, I think probably I was in 5th class, I guess. I think Mouna, 5th or 4th. Mouna was in, I think, 3rd, I guess, 4th, I guess. and they kind of, because she was studying well, they put her into the jumper class, right?
Okay.
So she did jump into her next class, and it was so like, for me it was like, oh, why is she in my class? I don't want to be in the same class, and I kind of shifted to other class. I jumped the class. So that's there. But apart from that, she used to be very naughty as a kid, and my parents were, only girl child in the family. She used to get all the pampered one, and my dad, for us there is nothing, but for her everything. So she used to dominate us like anything, in terms of even if you're going back from school,
you're getting it. So
so there are a lot of things that I can tell now. So when you're going back from school also, like when I'm going on my cycle, she used to beat me up. I don't know what all things she used to do. It's crazy, but it's a great time we had. And in between, when we kind of moved to hostels and all, there was a lot of gap. And now I think 7 years, from last 6 to 7 years, I'm back to my base in terms of Hyderabad. She also studied in Bombay, moved back to Hyderabad, and I think now at a lot more mature level, we got connected. Obviously, we fought professionally, we fought personally, we still do. But I think now we are more mature in terms of how we handle our personal and professional stuff.
It's I think childhood has been fun, and there are a lot of memories there. And like he said, once we were a little matured and all, he started working in between post his graduation in Cognizant. I think both my brothers, they together got me a laptop when I was studying in Bombay.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things they have done for me, and for Raksha Bandhan or anything per se, that doesn't have to be an occasion also sometimes. And I didn't have to demand after a point, because they know the list, they know what I need and stuff. So they have taken care of me so well. Whatever I want to do.
Interestingly, now that she's saying this, I also recall where, now that we're in the fashion, right? So whatever we used to buy, I think probably in the later years, not early, but we used to send her a picture and she used to decide for us. And she, as a kid, always used to be very, I think art or design focused. I would not say design per se, because that's too early on, but she learned painting.
That creative sense
is there, and it was although obviously like everybody else, she did her straightforward into engineering, but after that, it was crazy that what all she learned through, right? She learned haircut.
Okay.
The makeup part of stuff through, I think, the VLCC course. And she did art painting stuff, and she did quite some, she was acting as an MC, in some of the events. And it was very interesting for me, because I am very, obviously I studied in Vasavi, so obviously we all got good ranks. So I am more a studious kind of a guy, and more technical in nature in my, because more come from the studying nature. She is very, hands-on. Not before getting into business, I never handled teams like unorganized teams.
Yeah.
She can make 10 people.
She can work, field work. You tell me whether it could be any field work, carriers or anybody who is some department also. I can make sure I can go to that level and do it.
Yeah.
So he's the person who kind of organize somebody who is already groomed and get them work. He's been a product manager and stuff. He must have a lot of team members under him. So I handled from ground level. I did a lot of field works. Even in Bombay, I used to go to this Malad, a lot of these areas, and get things done. I used to do some art crafts and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always been there. I had that skill in me.
So it's a very left brain, right brain.
Yeah, absolutely. It is like that. And till the time we kind of got into the business, obviously I was working as a product manager. I worked with the team. This is all like what you say. This is all, sophisticated jobs, right? I really did not handle a tailor, who is not that educated, or like a karigar who is not. So it's very interesting for me the way she used to handle and way she used to come across as a very strong leader. I think there was a lot of things that I learned from her. Yeah. From where to where, from complaining to I went about praising her.
Praising her in a span of 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
That's a proper brother-sister relationship.
Maybe that's the equation I'm going with, so that I'm handling her well.
Okay,
That's-
so after your schooling, then what was the next step? How did you get into engineering, and what was your natural next step?
So I think Sahith is not in a position to advise me or anything because he's busy with his own. He's studying so hard and well, and for me it was very typical normal direction. After your intermediate +1 and +2, you're like quickly getting into graduation. So what do you want to choose? It's like that. So typically, I went ahead with civil engineering, and I think I didn't think much or there's nobody to kind of
Guide.
suggest or guide, right? And
Even for us, we might be studying. Honestly, I mean, there is, but nobody really guided us. I think you got into electronics, right? You
Yeah.
just mentioned.
Easy.
I got into electronics. I don't know why. Honestly, matlab, because there was a I mean, it's nothing to do with a college or anything, but you just jumping from 12th to engineering. Whatever you hear saying that electronics is great, you just join it. So you join it. I mean, apart from your responsibility stops where you get your rank, right?
Yeah, true.
And I think that's not so. I don't know. Things might have changed right now, but at least at our point of time, it was more like you got your rank. It's about choose something which is best in the in terms of what's the best.
what's giving
It's
better.
the best college that you get and the best branch that you
The
get.
best
That's
branch you
pretty
can
much
get, but what is best for you is like no thought process around it. It's very interesting, right? Because you studied so much.
Yeah,
So
and it's
what-
also funny because the 6 branches are so different.
Different.
In engineering.
Yeah.
And you
No,
don't
it's
know-
very different.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and there is no thought process. The guy is
Exactly.
just going into the getting the seats. It's no thought process at all.
I think you get reduced to one rank, that
Yeah.
number in that seat. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
all.
That's
And
it,
then
yeah.
you realize, okay, I'm in for 4 years of studying something that I don't know anything about.
about.
And
Very true. And I think we come from a very middle class background. My parents didn't study so much. So my father is into business and farming.
Okay.
So agriculture. So I think he's ready to do whatever it takes for us to get us there where
Yeah.
we want to be there.
Yeah.
But we were not sure.
Yeah.
So that's the only
But
problem.
one thing stayed. I think a lot of people, even I think I'm sure, I mean people who get into good ranks, good colleges. I think one absolutely the fundamental thing is that they aspire for something big,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Aspiration.
always been there.
I think
That's
in India, what every middle class, or upper middle class, you could say, or even the low class, everybody, has that aspiration to be something, better than, and give or provide for the family better than what they were already, right? I think that stays, but everything else they don't have that exposure towards in terms of what branch I choose, what do I do personally, but I know I have to earn so much, or I have to do something for the family.
And it's also that if, let's say I'm a student of 12th grade and I know I want to do designing, that person goes into designing.
Yeah.
But at a point where I don't know what to do, the default choice is your engineering background.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're just putting that decision off for 4 years and you're saying, okay, I have a backup story. at
First I'll do engineering,
Yeah. And
then I do whatever I
Then
want.
figure out.
Then I'll think.
I think that's the case with both of us. I did my engineering. Honestly, I think even for the MBA, my reasoning is very simple. Nobody is from business. I mean, just to point that out very clearly, I wanted to do business,
Right.
and that's the reason. I mean, that's something, as I told, right? One thing Vasavi gave me is the entrepreneurship cell, which really told me that till then my goal was not set. I was aiming for a good rank.
Right.
Correct. I got the rank. I got into the college. Interestingly, in the second year of my college, I wanted to be part of organizing because I was thinking something out of the studies, right? Till then I was just studying. So, and interestingly and luckily, I would say luckily, I got into Swayam. At that point, my goal was decided. My goal was not like get into an MBA and get into MBA with a good rank, good college, and start your job, right? I think most people had that aspiration. Okay, get into a good MBA college and then you're sorted. But my aspiration was always been like get into an MBA college because you doesn't come from a business background.
Yeah.
I don't know why is that also true, but then probably go about doing a business, right? So that was there, and so when I quit for after my MBA to do, it was easy for me because all along from my engineering I was planning that the end goal is not to kind of do MBA, the end goal was to do business.
Right.
So it was very natural transition for me in general.
That's also very unique because 90% people who want to do MBA are doing it because they're honestly speaking, they want a higher package, so they're doing MBA.
Correct.
At this point. Very few of them actually have a business aspiration and they're like, this is going to help me for my goal. And I think that's wonderful because very, very few people, we see a lot of people aspiring to do MBA, right? And hardly any of them say this.
But honestly, you don't need to do an MBA also to do business, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell. So this is all at least there was a thought process. That's my own decision to do and do that. But fundamentally, you have to put yourself something, right? I mean, your thought process started, let's say for me, the thought process started in engineering.
Right.
Saying that, okay, this is what I want to do. I mean, whatever route I pick, it's my own, route that I picked up. But yeah, that's about it.
There are a lot of other founders who I know haven't done their MBA and they're doing amazing right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I remember what they have mentioned. They were telling that I did a little costlier MBA because it costed me something in the business, but now they're doing well in the business.
So one thing that I'm grateful is that my MBA is cheap.
Because you got a better rank, you got a seat.
No, not really. So in all the IIMs does have a very high fee.
Yeah.
But I studied in FMS Delhi University. I mean, I'm so grateful because I think two things like Vasavi gave me Swayam. FMS gave, there was no fee for the college.
Okay.
It's hardly like 10,000 bucks a year.
Okay.
And that's compared to like 16 to 20, 30 lakhs MBA fee. It was very easy for me because I don't have anything in the back to kind of pay for, apart from, taking care of the family or my own expenses. So it actually, I think there are other reasons that made, easier transition for me is that. And I mean, everything else apart in terms of it's a great curriculum, great friends.
Baggage would be difficult.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Startup,
Yeah, especially in the
that
India.
really helped, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it automatically you start looking for a safer route.
Right.
Safer route, yeah.
You'll never get out of the job
Yeah.
that way.
It's a constant loop.
True.
So
The-
when he was about to quit the job also, there's nothing he has to think much about.
Yeah.
There's our family who is going to support us.
Yeah.
All we need is shelter and food. That's all. And I think he's in a very sweet spot to quit.
Yeah, I would not say it is easy because, see, for example, if it's a well-settled family, you don't need to worry that because it's only you that you need to worry, right? But in a middle-class setup, you still, your parents are still worried, because they are retiring.
For sure.
They need the money back home.
Yeah.
But my parents have been like 100% supportive. I mean, we could be probably in a better, lifestyle if you do post MBA job and give back home. But I'm still troubling them. But point being,
is there
that
that
HK
he's
is there.
quitting karke because he's it's a very well paid job.
Yeah.
Okay. And among all three of us, he's been a bright kid. So they're like, okay, into business, okay. So that's there, but I think they understand
where we're
as
coming
they
from.
would be able to definitely do better in business.
So how was the equation with your parents? Were they like the strict parents or were they
No.
chill?
No, they are
Look at us.
No, they are definitely not strict. They are like my father won't even listen to the whole conversation and say yes, go for it. I mean, I'm saying literally won't even listen to the whole conversation and say let's go. But though it bugs them.
So there are two boys in the house, and I'm the only female kid. I had never had any restrictions. Okay, chopping the hair. I used to have Teranam hairstyle.
Okay.
until I'm in 12th.
Okay.
Okay, I think no parents would do that, and I used to get a permission because there's this school I was in. I need to be in planks and there should not be any nails and all. I am a person who grows nails from the childhood and want to keep my hair open. It's always been this short hair, so there's no way I can do the planks and all, right? So I used to get permissions. My father used to come and speak.
Oh, wow.
That kind.
So
I
they
think
definitely
there's
been a lot supportive from early on. I mean, even more for her. But for I mean, even in terms of education, they were not like, oh, you have to study, otherwise I'll do so and so. He just made sure he put us in the right places, and we ourselves got inspired. I don't know if he did it consciously, unconsciously, but he put us in the right places. And even if it's education or not, like in terms of our exposure, I think I think I would say education is one side and the exposure is the other side. If you have exposure, you absolutely will figure it out yourself. Let's say, for example, Mona was studying in a small town, right? And we put her in Bombay, right?
That's a
maybe
huge change.
maybe it's a huge change, and in the city like Bombay, you're doing fashion. Everybody is judging you, and honestly, I don't know if I could say this. She used to cry in the night and call us, and we were so worried. And she's the one who decided that I'll go to Bombay. So, but I think that's what. But after that, the same Mona, after like a week or, you grow as a person a lot.
True.
You change a lot, and today what she is because of that exposure that she got in the city.
Yeah.
Even for me in Delhi, right? So I think absolutely. that the parents, whatever decisions they took, it absolutely impacts. And they've been 100% supportive.
So you were talking about Swayam and the impact that it's had on you.
Yeah.
And you are, of course, Vasavi alumni.
Yes.
So how was your Vasavi experience like? How was your college life?
Interesting. So, okay, again, like going back to when I joined Vasavi, it was a very big thing for me. Being honestly, I told you I'm from a town in Karimnagar. For me, firstly, Hyderabad is also a bit terrifying, right? And you get all this. I would not to term them like that, but the rich folks. You're coming from the town. You see people coming in cars. It's like a bit more. What you say. It's a bit terrifying to you in the start. Again, that's where the exposure, what I meant, comes in. Like you meet all of these great people, nice folks from different parts, different schools and stuff. That's the first thing that like when I just joined. The great thing that happened to me is I had some great friends. That's first thing. It will get you by.
My friends too. They're my friends too.
Yeah, they are her friends too. So we're still in connected, and we have this group called F10.
Okay.
So it's so clingy, but like very whatever. So but there's like 10 people folk. We still stay in connected. That's the first thing. It made my life easier. It made me more confident, I would say. At least you have certain number of folks that you can support you, right, in whatever you do. The experience of Vasavi has been brilliant. For me, it's like a one ladder up and kind of made me more confident. I would see my journey from my schooling to the whole MBA startup is a journey of you building your confidence.
Right.
It's as simple as that. You like confidence, exposure, and obviously you're learning, but all of that kind of make you think like, when you're in Vasavi, they make you think like, I'm no less than an IITian, or like no less than anybody per se who is pursuing grad. And when I go to like an FMS or something, then you're one of the better kids in the country, right? You get that confidence.
Right.
You are doesn't really matter to a point. Depends only which field you're choosing, no, at the end of the day. So that confident build up really happened for me. And I think the first year is all about me trying to cope up with the institute at this, and trying to cope up with the kind of people and overcome and build that confidence. But the second year has been beautiful. I joined Swayam. It gave me a source of responsibility for the first time, right? I think the interesting thing is in our batch, I think I was telling you guys that the third year folks started Swayam.
Right.
I think Mr. Ramohan Garu was there, who was the faculty coordinator back then. So he and I think took the initiative. I think it's one of the early ones. I think then there was a TIE, the Entrepreneurship Institute. So we started. The third year folks started along with us as this thing. I was one of the coordinators in the second year. There was another guy called Pavitran from Triple E. We both in the same years, in the second year we started. I think it kind of gave me a source of responsibility that I'm doing something to the college or something as part of organizing in general, right? So I think that was one of great turning points for me. And it was not just about education like that. So everything went hand in hand. And in the third year and fourth year, I think I also became Entrepreneurship Cell President then.
Okay.
So I was obviously into the whole organizing the e-cell and all. Even I was part of EC's, your Tech Fest, I was head of Acumen also. back in my fourth year. I think all of this really kind of gave me because I was, in the second year of when I was in Swayam, my whole goal is being built in terms of, I have to start something.
Right.
And that exposure was there. And then that led to me thinking about MBA, thinking about, writing CAT and, going there. That was first, source of inspiration. Then, because I'm anyways getting into managerial things, I wanted to do a lot more managerial activities. So I took Swayam also, I took ESL, Tech Fest also. And that I've taken so much organizing responsibility, kind of gave a lot of exposure for me. Even that robotics, conducting robotic events, or like even we did some entrepreneurial thing there of hosting it outside. But I think it changed the game for me in terms of the whole how I built my career onwards, and it set a very clear path, what I want to do. And the faculty has been supportive. I mean, the whole classes, I mean, obviously Vasavi is strict. So we did not miss our classes, and all of this was happening by, your parallelly. So the whole attendance, that we have to obviously attend our classes, but still we went ahead and did this, and like you guys are doing. And so like on this day you are out trying to, do a podcast with the folks, apart from, attending your classes and stuff. It was like that. Maybe it helped, maybe it didn't, but doesn't really matter. But if you look back and see, I did everything that I should do it in a college, right? And we never went back on extracurriculars in terms of the organizing and all, though there was all those compulsions. Right. It's probably extra motivated us in some way. So it's been a brilliant experience, and I have got my great friends, and you don't need too many, right? You only need a set of bunch, and I got my bunch. They are still supportive of me.
So all 10 of you are still in touch?
101%. Some of them are in Hyderabad.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are in US. As you know, everybody in Hyderabad goes to US, at least from my batch. So we're all in touch, and I mean, though like suddenly we meet up after a couple of months, it doesn't feel so. Like after few months or like 6 months also, if we meet up, though they're married or whatever, but it still feels like we're back to our college, So it's very nice.
So we've also heard from a lot of faculty in college saying the activities that we had in Vasavi before COVID, pre-COVID was completely on another level compared to what we're seeing today, because we've had to start from scratch again. Club started from scratch.
Because of the break in the brand. There is no transition.
So from the seniors, it didn't come down to us. We had to start taking initiatives again.
Okay.
We didn't know how things work, because normally you see your seniors do it. We didn't have that. So then they started telling us how things were in Swayam before, how Euphoria was, everything. So can you tell us something about Euphoria, how the festivals?
So Euphoria is something that I have not organized. But I've enjoyed. Even she came down to there because it was one of the big fests in Hyderabad. She was also, I think, just joined engineering, I guess.
I came along with
your
2 or 3 friends to present something.
I think that's for the Tech Fest.
Yeah, that's for the Tech Fest.
Did you get the certificate?
Yeah, I got one.
That's what you have come for.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it was like Euphoria is something where it's decided that I did not really wanted to organize. Also, it's not because I want, because I want to enjoy. Right. And my group of friends, as you know, that's where you get your break in the college to have fun. Correct. So apart from that, we used to obviously play table tennis, and my favorite thing is the canteen, as you mentioned.
I love that place.
It's a beautiful thing. Vasavi has, everybody says, CBT has big grounds, whatever. We just have a canteen, and that's good enough.
I know it.
I think what you guys
what you'll do.
CBT and Vasavi.
Yeah, but we have a beautiful canteen, and that's where you do all your chatting and stuff. But Euphoria was like epic. I mean, for us, I don't know, back then, I think I don't remember which star or the singer came down, but a lot of them over the 4 years, it was a great experience. And the first year was awe. Second year was like, let's like enjoy it like whatever we can. Third, fourth year was like, fuck it, and we just do whatever we want to do. So it was like crazy fun, and all our, at least the batch guys and all, we prepared what we wear, how you come, how all of that. but the whole mood is different in the college at that point, right?
Yeah.
And during the euphoria, it's like the whole mood is like, I mean, it's completely different than how it generally Vasavi as a strict college is. It's very interesting.
Excited even while talking about it right
Yeah,
now.
it was because back then there is no responsibility also. Just have fun.
But
Yeah.
to give you a full circle moment, I
Yeah.
wanted to tell the audience this a little later in the podcast. But the blue kurta that you see in DJ Tilu is from Hilo Design. And to give you that full circle moment, we had traditional day, I think 20 days ago.
Okay.
And every other boy was in that kurta in all the colors that they could possibly find. If there were 10 guys standing, 8 of them would be in your kurta.
Yeah.
Nice.
In different versions of it. And I don't know, I feel like when we saw that and then we knew we were coming for this podcast, we
Yeah.
were so excited to tell you that.
I mean, before Mouna answer it, because she has done a great job in terms of this. Because for me, so just to tell, we styled the Digital movie,
Right.
whole movie, including men and women. But for men, we used, some of our costumes from Hilo Design. I was still like baffled when she used that color on him. I mean, the lot of other colors also very interesting, very loud. But I was not able to put my mind across in terms of how it will go and all. And
The
when
yellow
we,
card especially.
yeah. So I was like, how would this go? And then when it came out, it was such a rage.
Yeah.
I will tell you, because we were running the brand, I could tell that back then, men who were like thinking of wearing some colors, they used to be like, oh, should I wear it? Will look nice. But I will tell you, post the movie, especially for the digital kurta, they don't really care.
Yeah.
Will the color suit me? Will the color don't suit me? And they used to, everybody used to like wear it, like look at it and like,
What is he wearing
enjoy
right
it.
now? What are you wearing right now?
A mauve shirt.
Yeah. If you ask this before Hilo Design,
Yeah.
it used to be I have white, grey, maroon.
We only know those colors.
Black.
Just
That's
these.
it.
Just these he used to have in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And
Men
now
only
he's-
know few colors. Now I know a lot more. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
I
he
want
wears
to.
them, right? I don't think he would have worn something like this. They would say that it's pink. It's not mauve for them.
Yeah, but
So-
that movie captured such a big
Yeah.
statement, like you're saying, because
Yeah.
men are always encouraged to wear subtle looks, be as not subtle also, but just very basic.
Very basic.
Yeah, very basic way of dressing.
Classic colors. That's
Yeah.
it.
Wanna tell
And I
us then,
think-
why did you go about
So,
doing that
see,
yeah, what the
experimental
the character
color?
has a scope. So it's not about me using Hilo Design outfits to him in the movie, but the character has so much scope in the fashion, because see, again, styling is the whole thing,
Yeah.
where it actually represents the character without talking about it. The director can't feed you what he's about, right?
Yeah.
So there should be something in the act, something in the look, how he's been there, how he's groomed and all. So I think his whole color palette, if you see, it's been very strong and loud, because he's there's a small line where he's not very classic and he's that quirky guy
Yeah.
throughout the movie. So we want, and especially this particular scene, it's a stretch. Almost whole second half
Yeah.
he's in it.
He's in it.
So, and it comes from daytime to night.
Yeah.
And the other things or properties or art department, what are the other colors comes in the frame is it's always sky, greens and the yellow car.
Yeah.
Right? It was a very complicated decision to make, because that's the look which is gonna stay back in all the viewers' mind and stuff.
Yeah.
So it is gonna travel with the dark moments, horror moments, and little fun also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to balance all the emotions. There's a color psychology, we have to go through it and all. And again, we should not let go of his guard, because which is he's quick and spontaneously he'll throw some dialogues at you.
Yeah.
No? And that is what his emotion. He'll just say that.
Yeah.
So I think that is something which I really made sure of. And I wanted to keep him in something in bling, because it's his birthday.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
would not let go of that chance,
Yeah.
because he's a person who would bring a t-shirt, put Prada sticker
Sticker on.
and then wear it.
Yeah.
He's like that. So bling is one thing very important. And then, like I said, understanding the whole color palette, we wanted to do little loud. Blue would be typical, and it would not stand out properly in front of yellow. It might become little, కొంచెం combination is very often a feeling low, ఊరుందిరా అని feeling వస్తుంది కదా, అట్లా కూడా ఉండకూడదు. You have to maintain his standard.
Right.
He's still who would have protein shake without working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. So so that's the reason I went for teal color,
Yeah.
which complements both in the daytime and the night.
Yeah.
And not giving him western or layer, it would be difficult holding the dead body or doing that kind of stuff. So I wanted to keep him in very simple attire with not much patterns, just the bling. It would do the job. Yeah.
It's so good that they've used it in the second part as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, the color choice, and I think I would go back and again say color choice, because the outfit and the pattern, everything is great, and we kind of got it from made the weaving of the mirrors and all of that, and got it from Surat, and we still run the product. But see, the interesting thing is the choice of the color and the aesthetic of the whole thing. It is no way cheap. But the guy is also trying to maintain sophistication. You can't make it lot more sophistication for him also, because the character is like that.
Because
so it's such a great balanced color, and I think one of the things that from then on, Mouna's aesthetic of colors and the choice of colors, like, I'm the big fan of. Obviously I was also part of the styling, and we are helping them, but it's her choices were like amazing. I mean, even if you see our palettes in our store, right, in our brand, the palettes, the play that she does with colors or embroideries, in terms of her aesthetic sense, it's very minimal. But if any man wears it, he won't see it as loud, because one of the things that men want is that they want sophistication, but they don't want to overdo it, but they really want to stand out. They won't say it, but they want to stand out. Obviously they don't want to put any effort. That's a different story. Somebody do it for me, but I will kind of want to be, look good for the right place. Maybe they won't be prepared, or maybe once they go to the wedding, they say, oh, I should have wore something better. They would feel there is no background work for them. But if you can make it easy.
Their wife or mother or sister shopping for them, right? Helping them, right? Now I think with assistance of the designers and all, people are really trying to put themselves out.
And I think that's one of the things, because DJ Tillu, that character itself is so interesting and has so many layers to it. Like you said, he's sophisticated, but he's not. They've made him into a clown, but not. He has all of those shades. And to be able to capture that in one outfit, because I remember when I saw the second part in the movie, there's this part where he goes in front of the mirror wearing that kurta, and the entire theatre just started screaming. Because that's the kind of rage it creates.
I mean, it's actually Sidhu, like the way he wore it. He owned it.
He's a person who can carry anything. You give him satins also, it will work. He's like that, there are Korean stars, who can carry both little feminine wala outfits as well. He has that grace in him. He has that confidence levels in him.
I think during the movie also he used to mention to us that, bro, give me anything. I will try. Let's go all out, because the character demanded it. He's like, maybe some things, maybe he I think he cut off that blockage. He said, okay, give me anything. I'm like, let's try. And there are times, I think even one time I remember, he wore a t-shirt, and it was like plain t-shirt only. Then he said, okay, bro, let's go into caravan, and we cut the t-shirt, and like he wore it back and used it in the scene. I mean, I think he knows the character so well that for him, whatever we were giving, he was adding on to it in terms of the layer. The way he was wearing it. It doesn't button up, he just pulls up. The whole attitude of it is what
everybody on the set lives in Tillu's character mode, it's a lot of things he does. He lives the character very rightly, and
with so much ease he's carried the character.
Very effortless.
I think one of the things is that Vimal gave us the director of the movie gave us a very
beautiful
input.
narration. And the first narration, see, usually what happens is not very quick. You can sink into the level and be on the same page with the director's vision, right? But with Vimal, he has given a very beautiful, detailed narration with character descriptions, and even Prince, if you see at that look, it's whole different from what he actually is being, right? The vision of him, the explanation, all the details. The more you give me, I can try to give a representation or mood board or a presentation for the character better, right? So I think that's something he has done.
Even Prince styling, and I think the most talked about is also the Neha's sari.
Yeah, the sari.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also, I think, the
She
way.
has very limited looks, but I think that's going to be an
This stood
iconic
out.
throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that black sari
And
stood out. a lot.
that suits her so well. Like, you know, her
Yeah.
body type is also great, and I think a lot of people has appreciated that
Yeah,
look
that's
too.
sari.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's just that Tilu has become a cult, so it's more about on that. But I
Yeah.
think Neha's look has been amazing,
Amazing.
and people still call her as Radhika.
Radhika. And also that the movie came out at a really right time, right after
Right.
COVID. People needed
Yes.
that
Yeah.
that hit, that break.
Right.
And it was really-
That break.
So now coming to the business aspect of
Yeah.
the entire story, because we've explored into the design one. So how did this entire startup venture come up in the first place? When was
Yeah.
that moment when you wanted to collaborate? Say, you know what, let's start this together.
So yeah, so there is a background to this. When I was doing my MBA in FMS Delhi, so Mouna was not yet she not yet joined any design school, like
Okay.
not yet joined Pearl Academy. So we had this idea to do a LinkedIn for designers kind of a thing.
Okay.
It came out of the idea came out of us talking and stuff, and there was another friend of mine, and this was just an idea phase. You know, we were just doing research phase and all. I think the whole likeness towards design came from there. Even Mouna pursued her design probably also inspired from that thought. So that the idea was that we do like cake designers, all of them. They're like designers,
Motorcycle designers, helmet designers. It could be anything.
designers from different field. What if they can put a portfolio together and like directly talk to the customer? There was this idea.
It was a very interesting one.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Then we did not really pursue it, to be honest.
But we met a lot of designers through that process.
Yeah.
We did a lot of research. We got a lot of data collected. And I think that's some amazing initiative. And I was going along with him. We were doing it together.
Yeah.
So
after that, actually, Mouna, that was there. I think that is where there is a design interest to it.
Right.
Because I come from fintech, there is no reason for us to do a design because this thing, right? And this is a very expertise-driven business as well, right? In terms of fashion. So post that, Mouna wanted to choose design, and she studied design from Pearl Academy. So later, we were like, we were discussing more and more ideas and all of that. So when we started, the intent was to, there is a lot of gap that we found and the opportunity that we found in India. Just to give you a broad sense, in India, the the low income mid folks have a lot of aspiration towards, in any field, in fashion, food, everything, right? And aspiration in some way is also, I could say, if I could use the word democratized, a lot of people know what they could aspire for now because of the social media, Instagram and stuff, right? There is a craving for luxury, right? There is, because of the celebrities or, access to the information. Then there is a rising mid and high income, the income in terms of the affordability in terms of mid high income, and especially in the low to mid income affordability. And and there is no so this is where we found, if you see the market in terms of the designer wear or like the fashion, there is high end designer wear, right? Like you could call something like Manish Malhotra or like Sabyasachi, anybody per se. And then there is the retail stores, right? Typically your Raymond's, Manyavar. I'm just telling ethnic wear example, but you can take it for the casual as well. And there is a very sweet spot between these two. Affordable luxury. And this is where you're talking about a high quality product, right? Without compromising on the quality, style, right? And people are fed up with the traditional brands, right? You probably would any day prefer a new age brand than going back to older brands, correct? So and people are looking for their aesthetic changed. And fashion is all about trends, right? Their aesthetic change, and they're looking for something in this segment. And the segment where we're talking about, I'm not talking about a massy brand, but we're talking about a premium brand.
Right.
India, there is a time now to create a premium brand, and a brand in this space where you could aspire to look good, look great. And for a modern new age men, we found there is a great space. Therefore, women, there is like a lot of options, and we feel men are underserved in the industry, and especially in a in an industry where men actually need the most, because they lack the advice, they lack the advice, their interest is there, but they want somebody to do for them, and that is a very and this is an industry where there is a huge market size. We're talking about a market size where everybody, there is the growing mid-income has a strong opportunity for us to capture, and especially when there is not much competition in terms of men segment in the affordable designer space or a bridge to luxury designer space. And that was one moment where we said, okay, let's start. But when we started back in 2019, we started for everybody, men, women, and then we figured out, and we started a private limited company. We said this is the market that we operate, but how do we do it different, right? How do we do it different from other folks? That's where Hilo Design started, and we're very clear on the market. We know that men's market is going to explode. And I mean, you can just tell the example from digitally to now, right? You could see men walking in shirts before, now men walking in kurtas. And not just shirt or kurta, I mean from an ethnic wear standpoint, but also men wanting to look good. Right. It's a lot of change from the last few years, and that's a market we want to tap, and it's growing to grow more. And this is the first segment that we want to get in us from the men's. We want to find our niche, because otherwise there is a lot of brands in the women's segment as well. So that's the fundamentally one thing. Secondly, the USP of the brand how do we do it different than the traditional brands is that how can we launch trendy designs faster to the market? Use both design and technology as a first, foremost thing in the business, to kind of not just get designs launched faster, but also create a platform where you can aggregate manufacturers, tailors, where you can basically create a lot more models in a made-to-order fashion, which means that when we get an order, we make the order, but also understand what are best sellers and create inventory for them. And if you could do this in the right way, because fashion you need to create a lot more trends. Not every one of your product would work out, right? So which means that you don't have an option but to create more models, but 1 in 10 of your products will work out, right? If you don't scale it up by inventory at that point, then doesn't make sense. But at the same time, if 1 in 10 is working out, why do you have to maintain inventory for all the 10? Right? So what we felt is that if you use technology in the back end, in the both design process as well as in the back end of manufacturing it, in a way that you made to order in the start and then you kind of scale it up, also is where we saw a huge opportunity, which will make us very different, very asset light, very inventory light, at the same time gives us makes us a lot more faster in the market, but also a lot more conscious in that effort, because we are not putting a lot of inventory. I think that is where we found, okay, this is the USP and the advantage that we have from the market. And the market, as I told you, the opportunity is also very right in this segment, and it's absolutely a space to create a 100 crore brand in the space. Just that we figured it out, and I would tell further in the thing that what channel, how are we going to do it, but we saw the space is right, the market opportunity is right, our USP is strong, and that's where we started Hilo Design.
Okay, so you mentioned using technology to make sure that made to order and inventory. So in that process, because when people go for designers and when people go for an exclusive collection,
correct,
there's also a sense, especially in the conservative in the area that we live in, the society that we live in, when you go in for a designer, you want yours to be unique compared to everyone else's.
Absolutely.
So you also have to have a limited inventory, right?
So that's what I'm trying to tell. It's not always about uniqueness. It is also, I agree. Right? Now uniqueness comes from where? Now you understand the market. Right? Now you go today. I love Zudio as a brand. I'm not trying to cheapen it out. It's a great brand at a strong scale. But somebody wearing a Zudio sandals, you don't want to wear. It's so they're out there everywhere, right? Now it's not about, I would say there's nothing wrong in it, but people are looking for some level of uniqueness. But more than that they are also looking for something there is, I think I see it as a two stages behavior. First, men don't wear it right. Once they start wearing it right, let's say if you wear a made to fit shirt, fitted to you, right? If I wear a normal retail shirt, it doesn't look this good, right? If I wear a made to fit shirt, you like it, right? It's like an addiction. You want it. Right. Once you know what looks good on you, let me put it in a simpler way. You have 10 shirts in your wardrobe. In that, 3 of them you like. So you keep wearing those 3 shirts again. Right. You did not make any effort in buying the 10 shirts. You don't know any consultation. Nobody consulted you. Nobody told you this will look good. And somehow you bought it. Right. But 7 are flop, by the way. You know, 3 you like. And you keep repeating. Right. So fundamentally, the aspiration is grow now. Right. Now they want uniqueness. Right? Now they want uniqueness. Now they want something special done for them. Something trendy also. That is where our model makes a lot more sense, because we are launching a lot more things faster in the market.
Right. And not everything is inventory. First, we just do it only for the samples, and at the sampling stage also we kind of filter a lot ourselves. And then once we launch, if for example, there's a collection of 10 pieces in the similar collection, and among those 10, whatever, probably 5 might be the best sellers. Just for those 5, we might have the standard sizes inventory. That's also very limited, and that's where his tech would help us a lot to understand, analyze the best sellers, as well as create inventory for bestsellers, and rest on made to order. Right. That's all.
That's very interesting.
So that there's no wastage as such. We cannot afford wastage. One other thing, we are very consciously doing it because we want to keep it sustainable.
See, yours is an interesting question, because I'm thinking more like you said, uniqueness, right? Yeah. So that is where the designers are trying today, no? So now, what are you trying to democratize this for? Like a brand like us is trying to get, one thing I have to tell you is that our designs are no less, and I'm very confident of Mouna's ability or our team's ability to create the designs. We are no less than any of the bigger designers. Right. But our affordability is a lot better than designers. I'm not saying we're a massy brand, we're a premium brand. But our affordability is a lot great. Even if you look at our new print collection, beautiful prints. Now the thing is, how do you make it unique also? More accessibility and more democratization in this process, but give that aspiration for the mid-income, high mid-income. Why buy those 10 shirts if you can buy a good 3 from us? That's fundamentally how we are looking at it.
So we're going to deliver a luxury brand feel. Yeah. At the same time, within the range, because like you said, the upper middle class and the middle class will definitely find it hysterical to spend lakhs on something that they wear once in a while.
Absolutely.
So we're making that affordable also and giving them that feel. That's a very good gap that you have identified.
In India, the aspiration, any category, if you can create a luxury brand. Yeah. I mean, when I say luxury, price is, I'm not saying about the price, right? You have to, though your pricing is lower, the brand content, the brand messaging, the quality, because for the modern Indian men or women, are looking for a very, and now they're a lot more aware. Yeah. They judge your aesthetic as well, right? Yeah. So you're talking about, you have to create a luxury brand. You have to create a luxury brand that the customer walks in and say, oh, is this only $3,000?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I imagine it to be a lot more.
Right.
That is where the value is. I mean, even if you're selling it for 1,000, that's not the point. The value you have to create around it.
So what he was mentioning, like about any other big designer brands, Manchmal or somebody who's already been a big brand, people want to showcase that brand, just for the sake they might end up buying. But that design value is not compromised here, but definitely a better pricing. Right. But it's not going to match any other retail store outside, that's all.
Yeah. So before the podcast, when we were just interacting with you, you had mentioned about how weddings is a very big market.
Yeah.
So can you tell us something about that, how that helps in scaling your business and the field that you're in?
So, I mean, in India, there are about 14 million weddings, right? So, the interesting thing about, the weddings is where, regardless of what is your income group or anything, everybody spends, and not just on fashion, on everything per se. And I think it's a great market which is underserved. I would not say underserved, but it is very unorganized. I could say unorganized. There is no organized big player in it. Obviously, something like Manyavar. Yeah. I think it's a great example. Manyavar is today, I mean, it's one of the things that would take benchmark for an industry number per se, is that they are at a 1,300 crore revenue, okay, and they still grow at 30%. and the profit after tax and is 30%. You're talking about an industry which has a 30% margin. I'm saying not many have it, right? So fundamentally, I think this is where I think bigger brands can be built, and again, that is where the same point I was mentioning. If you can bridge that aspiration to the customer, I think is where your brand can build. So one of the things, obviously, most of our currently, we serve the wedding market. I feel is where the store that we built, people do come by for consultation. Or I think one of the things I always mention my team is that when during weddings, they're not just shopping for clothes, they're shopping for advice. Because they are very confused. Now they know what they want. Now the woman has to pick her sari or whatever she's wearing, lehenga or whatever. The men has to color code it. The decor has to suit. The photographer,
the color palette
has to go right. It's almost like movies.
Every time earlier it is not that they're not particular about what comes in the background. We even ask what garland combination flowers you're using. We make sure it doesn't look odd, or it doesn't completely all of that. It's very important. So we kind of ask every detail: what is she wearing, and what are you add-ons wearing, or is there a change, or what are you doing? For example, in Telugu, Andhra side, South, they kind of change a sari in between, right? So what that is going to be, and are you also going to change? We understand all of those. When there is the talambralu process, e particular sections lo entante, you have to be very comfortably, use your hands and all. And sherwani ivani padded untayi. So adanni ardham cheskoni daniki taggattu less padding, kind of understanding their body type, personality wise kuda manam a comfort level ivvagalagali.
So I think the interesting thing here is that the whole especially again in weddings, men are underserved, right? And especially at weddings, I think men go through a transformation. This is what I feel. Okay, the transformation of trying out new colors. They're trying out something that is not in their comfort zone, and I think if they go to the right designer, their style changes from there on. I feel that personally. At least currently. So because they try the colors that they have never tried. They must be wearing a purple or like
a lot of grooms
pink
of Hilo who has worn lavender, purple, pink. Any color you ask me, I think we did.
I think it's a very.
I'm sure we made sure they're confident also.
Correct.
We kind of help them see the sample, make sure show the color analysis on them, and then help them understand it suits them, and it they can be fine with it and all. So and all of those consultation we take it very seriously. After that consultation, I have seen a lot of grooms who are very happy with the outcome and all.
So you told us about the USP. Now, once you had the idea and you wanted to set up the venture, the immediate next step is finding investors and finding designers. Like, okay, anyway, we don't have to find designers because you're doing it completely in-house. But what about the capital? How did you get into that?
So when we first were about to start, it's more about dabbling with the whole idea of it and starting. I think 3 of the investors came forward to invest in us. One is Renu Sati, she is a senior VP in Paytm. One is Vamsi Kotte, he is a founder of a brand called Citizen. They are in fintech. And Renu Sati is my, I was reporting to her back in Paytm. And then there is one of my other friends who trusted in us that they would go ahead and do something.
It's clearly just our potential because we didn't have anything to showcase. It's his senior, it's my senior, and they have seen what we can do. They have realized what skill we have in it.
We got a little fund, and it's a very pre-seed, I would say, like a kind of a thing, where we kind of dabbled with the idea of. We went around, did women also, we tried around, and that after that is when we incorporated a private limited company. And that's when we after into the game, we raised 100K from different other angel investors. So when we started, that's the if you're asking about the fund, that's the capital that we raised so far. Now we are in a space where we would like to, we would be doing a bigger round. But the thing is, how would the scale come forward is where we're looking at. And I realized physical is the way forward and omni-channel is the way forward. That's where we said, let's give a, story to the whole physical setup. And again, this is where we did I could say a small pivot in terms of how could we balance physical store and how could we scale physical. Right, that is where we came up with the whole idea that how would we build our physical store. And it's an interesting thing, the whole aesthetic you will understand in the store. The idea of how can we build a minimal luxury brand, because
that's what you would see in the whole interiors also.
Yes. The idea was that we do what we are as a brand. What I mentioned, if you look the whole gap opportunity that we are serving, from a brand story standpoint or brand aesthetic standpoint, we are more of a minimal luxury and a modern. Right, if you go to any other designer wear store, you will see probably chandeliers, right? So ours is a different approach to it, a very new age approach to the store building, and we have done that kind of an interiors with our color scheme of brown, beige and stuff. And we have set a store in such a way that this is more scalable from now on. Either it's a franchisee model or our own stores. But now is where we are seeing, okay, we have all the things sorted for scaling. We found the market right, we found the opportunity right, we know which channels to scale right now. So we also collaborate with Franchisee India right now. So we would be doing the online scaling, but at the same time, we would also be doing the physical scaling either through franchisee or our own stores and take it from here.
Okay, and what is the marketing strategy behind the brand?
Yeah.
The digital and otherwise also.
Yeah.
How do you go about the marketing for it?
See, currently our marketing, if you look at it, are obviously the major chunk is in the social media, because that's the most cost effective way to reach people currently, and especially Instagram. But one of the other strong channel now for us in the last few months when we started the store is obviously the store where we built the store. Now where we built the store is in Jubilee Hills Road number 36, right, which is the most premium lane here, and the brand visibility is strong here, and we will start seeing the lot more result because of the store and the hoarding of the store and the board, the VM of the visual merchandise of the store. Apart from that, if you look at the whole marketing scene, we do styling for a lot of celebrities. Either Mouna personal styles or we give our outfits, which builds a lot of trust. We recently did with Mr. Sudhir Babu Garu, and also we do for Kartikeya Garu and a few other actors, where the outfit, and we have even done for Vijay from even in Tamil industry. So what we saw is that a very organic reach to the brand, elevating the brand. See, it is important, the price where we are operating, it's not like a normal influencer puts up, because he has 1 million followers, they won't buy, because they are making a choice for 2,000, 3,000 rupees. They're not making a choice for $500, right? So we need to build the brand and build that aspiration for the brand as well in some sense, right? So we do, obviously within the budget that we have for marketing, we do for this styling for the celebs. We also do social media marketing. Our reels are on point. We're trying to scale that up, and the physical store reach. And apart from that, we do performance marketing, which helps us to reach to more of our interested listening. We will go about doing physical hoardings and all of that. Our first focus currently is to the city in terms of the Hyderabad for the store. We also do PR events, we also do community setup, so a lot of other interesting areas. But essentially now the thought process is that we focus on the Hyderabad in terms of the physical store, scale up online, and one of the interesting things is we get a lot of orders from US because of the Indian origin expat folks, and that's also a great market where we do our brand ads, where we get a lot of purchase from there, and we ship to US. We ship across the country in terms of online from the store standpoint, and also US and other countries.
Okay, and how is it working together as a sibling duo running a business? How is it working together? Do you have conflicts? When you do have conflicts, who gets the veto?
Conflicts, I wouldn't say, but we do a healthy debate for sure, because I come from a design mindset, right? He has this business. We have to balance that. I cannot be emotional about doing designing of beyond budget or anything like that. You know, of course, I think sometimes both we don't agree. We have to sometimes disagree to agree, and just go ahead, which is right for the brand. Again, everything only just in terms of the growth of Hilo.
Correct. No, the common point is obviously the growth of the brand, and we have let go of a lot of things to do this, right, over the last few years.
That's the only goal we have.
Yeah, that's the only goal we have, and 24 hours, this is what we're thinking about, and how do we go about.
We go back home, we talk about this, we wake up, and first we knock each other's doors, and then we talk about it, and then we start out.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
It's a life. So fundamentally, we obviously disagree on a lot of things, but market will tell us essentially what is working, what is not working, and then we will only talk about, oh, that worked, so let's do that more, or let this work, or let's do this more, or whatever we did not work, probably because we did not budget it right, do it this, we learned a lot of things by
no
doing
quickly. Of course, Sahith listens definitely, and then not very quickly he would say, let's not do it, no, it's not right. So probably give it a thought. After a day again we discuss, then come back to a point where which works and which suits. If we have a reference, it's okay. If we don't have a reference, sometimes we experiment also. So yeah.
But from a design standpoint, from a designing an outfit standpoint, I tried a lot. I mean, not to get into it, because sometimes I will probably go conservative, right, to make the business work. Maybe whatever decision that she makes, I don't want to change. But where I get in is definitely where the budget has to come down to, where is the pricing has to come down to, and what market is looking for, or what competition is doing, right? Something like that is where my point of view comes across, and I think that's
not just that. I think he's somebody who can try the outfits and tell rightly.
So I'm the first bakra here.
Not being you won't have to be obligated not to tell the negatives and all. He's the first person to tell only the negatives. He's not a person who would say, oh, this is nice. No, he would first try to talk about, this is not comfortable, this has this issue and all. So after that we kind of also do iterations, work out, and then again come back with something right.
So that's the thing, right? So that's how I am from a design standpoint. I try to give you this point, and from a business standpoint, like in terms of the marketing per se, for example, I run the ads myself. Obviously, apart from the social media, we do it together. But I mean, we involve together with the team and get it done. In terms of design, merchandising, sourcing, there is we know who. I mean, by default, who is who does what, and in both, obviously, we have viewpoints. And we have very strong viewpoints, and even on the business side on this thing. But technicalities aside, like for example, I won't go and say this is how you have to sketch or this is how you have to do. But final output, I have a comment
that
to say.
Freedom is definitely there.
Yeah, both of us.
We have separate different departments, and we do appreciate our skills, what we bring to the Hilo Design brand. And otherwise also, I think earlier in the starting, I used to be like, I don't want to know about business numbers and all. Let me just be in designing and all. I used to be like that. But I think eventually I did get into understand, because it's very important either of the founder to know everything.
Everything, yes.
Not just a design, right? Founder, you don't know the perspective. You just have to just go
narrow down
ahead with
into
what's on your mind. But here, there's a discussion. You would be able to tell something, and then there's a discussion, proper healthy discussion, and you try to improve yourself and all of that.
There is conflict in terms of some issues and all of that, but at the end of the day, we will say, okay, I'll tell you, it's a very interesting thing. Initially, when we used to fight, probably we don't talk for 2 days. No, we don't talk for 2 seconds, and then just get into the whole thing again, right? So it is like that again,
because can't afford 2 days now. We have to run at faster pace.
And also the thing is that initially, I think the maturity has come in. There is a the critical thing about being siblings and founders is that the personal and professional kind of gets in between, right? And I think we brought in a lot more maturity. I think in terms of, I think it's very difficult for siblings to work together, or like for couples to work together, because definitely the personal and professional going to merge, how much ever you try not to. Then how do you keep it in such a way that it doesn't because something I told in a business setup doesn't impact our personal thing. It's a very tricky thing. I mean, there are advantages with being sibling, because we don't need to think about what equity you hold, how much are you getting, how much am I getting, or like, there is no other thing, because we care for each other, right, at the end of the day. But there are the other disadvantages, that we need to make sure our personal thing is sorted. So initially, like I was saying, when we used to fight about things, right, then we used to like not speak for some time, and now it is like, at the end of the day, what we are doing for.
Right.
That's fundamentally what it is.
So, as a startup
Yeah.
and as both engineers who are in the design industry,
Yeah.
what about any students who are interested in design, but they're probably coming from a technical setup or not, even from a designing setup?
Yeah.
Are you talking about you?
No, not just me, in general. Because, for example, in Vasavi, we have our fashion club now.
Oh.
It's called
Nice.
Suruchi, and
Nice.
every year at Euphoria, they present their fashion show.
Oh.
Yeah, and they did a phenomenal job this time.
Mm.
So they took up different themes. They took up gods, they took up movie characters, they had their own twist to it.
Nice.
They did a Navarasa theme where they showed emotions through their outfits.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a lot of overlap where people like us are interested in both. Those kind of students intend to intern or just experiment with this design field to see if it's right for them. What advice would you give them?
So I think we come from very different backgrounds of education, and then now we are here.
Yeah.
So we definitely believe anybody can pursue this anytime. All we look for in the interns is their interest to put the effort and try to learn something. So that's all we look for. We don't even ask for their education background or if they have done something in the fashion course or anything. So we definitely give that opportunity, and we take 3 interns at once. Try to make sure we kind of not put them in one part, in other labels. There are few interns who has done internship in some place and then came back here. They didn't learn any design there. They were into sales.
Right.
There's no point, right? And again, you should be able to give them the opportunity what they could not do in the studies,
Yeah.
and help them with the learning exactly what goes in the real field.
Yeah.
So even fashion designers who were doing courses, who were doing graduation programs and diplomas, are not getting that exposure also.
Yeah.
When they come to the reality, they don't know what fabric is, or
Yeah.
how much would it cost, how much would it be required. All of that is important. So if it's just sketching, it's different. But sketching as per the personality also, it's important, right?
Yeah.
Understanding the measurements. If your sketch is something very beautifully looking and visually appealing, that won't do the job.
Yeah.
It's whole different when it comes to the reality. So I think we give opportunity to anybody who wants to pursue just their interest, their skill, and their effort.
So as Mouna was saying, that even the design students lack a lot of practical, especially I think a field like this, it's very easy to get into practical thing in terms of making them like, that's there. But apart from that, anybody, I think Mouna is an example. Obviously she studied, but she also was an engineer before. But one thing I feel naturally, or I don't know if it comes naturally, but you need to have a good aesthetic sense, good appreciation, and the taste that aligns with the market, right? Because there might be one style that you yourself like, that's great for yourself, but that also should appeal to the market, no? Or you should be the one who's setting the trend in some way, right? So I think that is the most important thing, but that is nothing to do with education. Correct? Your aesthetic understanding of things and how the market is going, and sometimes you might not be able to sketch it. So what? There are people who can sketch.
There's a lot of other departments.
Yeah.
People think designing is just sketching and probably doing stitching
Yeah.
a garment. No, it's fine.
Not.
You do if you're good at pattern making, just be there. Merchandising. There is a lot of vendor handling. There are a lot of other aspects as well.
To the business, yeah.
So I think that is a very huge space. Just fashion business.
Yeah, as such as
and you can just be the kind of be a consultant to somebody.
Yeah.
If you're good at it, and all of those things you can
Yeah.
do. There are a lot of people who are changing their course and career from IT to fashion.
Yeah.
I've met those people. I have helped them. A lot of women are trying to see. We didn't realize earlier what we wanted to do. We might find it early. We might find it later. But I think if you're interested, then it's open.
Yeah.
And so before I conclude, one question to ask is, any advice that you would give maybe college students like us, third year, fourth year students who aspire to be entrepreneurs one day?
Yeah.
What would be an advice that you would give them?
See, I mean, I would say I probably, from my exposure, and there is one thing is that whichever field you want to start, right? First, understanding industry is the most important thing. See, I'll tell you one thing. Whenever you start, first couple of years will go in understanding it only. Right?
Yeah.
You will learn it, and it's not going to be like you put out a product there and it's going to be an instant hit, right? If you are in for the long run, right? If you're in for the long haul, if you're in for the whole, the worst of the times and the best of the times, and it is definitely not a couple of year journey. It is for 7 year to 10 year, probably even more year journey. So all of this is the context, right? Now, if you have to aspire for it, first understand the industry, maybe work in the industry somewhere, and you should obviously have the passion for it and all of that. So I feel like there is a lot of background work that you can probably do before jumping into doing something. Again, and there is no right time to start. You can start anytime. So I think how much time you can maybe right after the college you can start, because you need certain time to start. Maybe it might not work in your first venture. Maybe it will work in the second venture. Correct. If your aspiration towards doing a business, I think you should start as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because there is learning. But definitely you should have exposure towards lot of streams in business. Right? You cannot be like, I won't look at accounting and I won't look at finance because my accountant will look at it. I don't think that's how it's going to be, right? Because see, allocation of resources is the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you put all your money in like designing clothes, who will come and buy?
Yeah.
Example,
You
right?
have to be hands-on
So
in all the
you
departments.
have to be hands-on with a lot of things, which means that, and you might not know everything today. That's still fine.
Yeah.
But when you get into it, just get out of your comfort zone and do, and get exposure to the industry that you want to work in, and lot of feedback that you can get from the market or people who will advise you might be wrong also.
Right.
So don't take them seriously. If you want to start it. What you will lose. So I'll tell you one thing which I always felt for myself is that, okay, I'm losing the opportunity cost of not working somewhere else, which is I think decent chunk of money,
Yeah.
right? But apart from that, if I go anywhere today, if I want, let's say, if I want to earn for myself or anything, there is somebody who is studying from Vasavi or somebody who is studying from FMS Delhi. I'm sure you would be able to get your job anytime,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But you will not get the opportunity to do something
Of
your own if you want to. It's not like this is the ultimate or this is
Yeah.
what it is. People are satisfied with job and they want to travel, that's what you want to do. But the point being that if you want to do something like that, I'm sure there is nothing to fear, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're like doesn't work out in the first, but the learning that you'll have in entrepreneurship is like I think the potential of what you can become post it is also very huge. I think that's where even in the employment market, the entrepreneurs who like probably have exited their first startup or did not work in the first startup, their first startup did not work well, so they have went ahead and did corporate jobs and then came back again and they did a super hit second stint, right? So I think you go with the open mind and just experiment it, just do it. And I think today in the generation of social media, it costs you nothing to get your first customer, right? It costs nothing to get first customer, right? After that it's costly, but so if you get to few customers, you will learn, you will know if this is going to work or this is not going to work. Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you
us
very
today.
much.
Thank you.
And guys, so that was the episode for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please do like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.